May we move on now that we have been welcomed in the heaven domains and move on to be welcomed by the Kruger Park itself and none other than the Chief Executive Officer of SANParks, Dr. David Mabunda, will welcome us. Dr. Mabunda, sir. Let's give him a big round of applause. Or he may decide to charge us more if we don't give him.
Program Director, Baba Nxumalo, sikhohlwe umthandazo weNyamatane. But thank you very much. In the interest of time, we will give that a miss. Honorable Executive Mayor Mage Dlamini, Mage Shongwe, Luangikhulisa, MEC Mkwena, my boss, honorable councillors, organizers of the summit, sponsors, business people in their entirety, Mr. Sibiya, who is the managing executive of the Kruger National Park. I think he was close to taking me to the CCMA for taking his job. But that's Mr. Sibiya over there. He's the managing executive of the Kruger National Park. And if there are any needs in terms of plans, accommodation, and whatever, please don't phone me. Call Mr. Sibiya. He's just close by here. Officials of all the municipalities represented here and the provincial government, honored guests, speakers that will feature later in the program, ladies and gentlemen, we thank the people of this region, particularly Mbombela municipality, for ensuring that we have a facility of this nature. You will travel many continents and many countries before you can come across a facility of this magnitude in a national park. And that is due to the vision of the people of this region. Thank you very much. And that is the interest shown by the people of this province, which has led to this kind of development. Because when the founders of the national park system around the world, particularly after the establishment of the first national park in 1872, Yellowstone National Park in the United States, they had no anticipation that national parks, these places of wonder that they established, would have some form of economic value. They had no idea that they were setting up a system that 140 years later, today, would be responsible for the employment of more than 2 million people around the world and responsible for an estate the size of South America, which is 12% of the entire world surface. National parks around the world and some form of protected areas have an economic value of trillions of dollars, which needs to be exploited. Tourism has become a major sector in economic activity in the latter part of the 20th century and will continue growing despite the recent global economic slump. Yes, in our country, occupancies, I think business people will attest, are quite low at the moment. The business is underwater or in the ICU in some instances. But generally the outlook does show that despite the slump, indeed there will be growth going forward. With this growth, small as it is, a diversification of tourism products and destination is essential to increase the demand for this kind of products. And visitors themselves are becoming very much discerning people who want to be involved in the cultural heritage of those destinations, who want to involve with the local communities and who want to understand ecosystems, and challenges affecting conservation of natural areas. Our constitution in this country, ladies and gentlemen, as you know, Section 24B, subsection 2 to 3, supports sustainable development, particularly the development of natural areas to assist in economic growth. This then puts nature-based tourism in parks and protected areas in a strategic position to make a positive contribution to job creation, entrepreneurial opportunities, regional economic growth, and many other essential areas that are capable for improving the socio-economic well-being of our communities. Tourism is a major tool in our business, in our set of work, in terms of revitalizing and creating awareness of the importance of the environment and its economic contribution to both its residents and visitors. And these objectives are achieved by using facilities of this nature to create the necessary resources that are required to manage our protected area system. The Kruger National Park and other national parks in this country, well renowned for their ecological and iconic importance, is not just an ecological entity, a geographical entity for animals. It is a crucial and important facility and entity for growth, economic growth of the communities in these two provinces, the province of Mpumalanga and Limpopo specifically. You will recall, Honorable Mayors, that in the year 2000, when the park was closed for 10 months, many businesses in Nelspruit, Polokwane, Tzaneen, and everywhere went belly up because the artery that provided the blood circulation that kept businesses going was dry. Thanks God that we did not experience severe floods as we did in 2000, although there is extensive damage to infrastructure. This is how important the Kruger National Park is and other national parks to our economies in this country. I can assure you, Honorable Mayors, that we are not going to close the park. Of course, some parts or sections of the park remain closed in the meantime, but indeed we will be up and running up to about 100% level of functionality by the end of June, possibly. Despite the negative trends in terms of the tourism industry index that predicts difficulties going forward, we are happy to say that national parks indeed are still quite high up there and are able to contribute to economic growth and development or stimulation of business in the regions where they exist. We sit at an occupancy of about 69% currently. Of course, Kruger National Park is always in the 80s and 90s in terms of occupancies, even when they are underwater. We've learned over time that it is important to create quality, to build quality in your objectives, accommodation of the best standards and best hygienic levels, full service, guides that are knowledgeable and good communicators. We are indeed a pioneer in this area of mixing quality in terms of wildlife deliveries. We bring these qualities to these municipalities that exist in our area of operation. Honorable Mayors, we are excited about this economic summit, hence our preparedness to be part of the initiative, to be part of the drive and the process to identify opportunities for investment. Our contribution is to make Mbombela and surrounding areas a preferred tourism destination of choice and a profitable investment opportunity. We are serious about that, hence our integration of the park into the general development plan of the province, the provincial economic strategic growth. We're part of that, and we hope to contribute positively in terms of development. In conclusion, Honorable Mayors, it would really be an oversight on my side if I don't condemn the illegal killing of rhinos in our park, which is robbing not only business, but all the people of this region and South Africa and the people of the world of their environmental capital. It's a misnomer to call it poaching. This is environmental terrorism of the highest order, which we must fight with the full might of state law agencies and all the people of this region. I thank you.
Thank you so much to the CEO, Dr. Mabunda. It was not the loudest of hand claps that I expected after telling us more about this, but there are a few things that he left out, Executive Mayor. I will have the decency of talking about them, because when he spoke about the floods of the year 2000, he stopped short of saying he allowed nature to flourish to its fullest, because his house was flooded to the brims, to the top. They had to make their way through the ceiling. I know why he's not mentioning that, but we will talk about it as time goes on. It's a difficult management of nature, because I remember after those years there was a fire that flared here for a long time and destroyed a lot of animals. But because of the difficult, and I don't know, sometimes I don't understand this strategy of saying let's let nature take care of itself. That fire burned right throughout a week or two, killing so many animals. But because they were charged with the duty of allowing nature to take its course, they did not try to extinguish it. But it's okay, it's their work. May I move on, therefore, ladies and gentlemen, to a point where we want to know why we are here. A point where the MEC will have to go back to the Premier and report that what did you do the past 3-4 days. To know why we are here, allow me to invite and ask the Executive Mayor of Mbombela to please come forward to tell us the objectives of this summit and what we have to accomplish after 2 days of talk. Let's give her a big round of applause as she comes up.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Executive Mayor of Hlanzeni Magashongwe, Executive Mayor of Mbabane in Swaziland, Mayor Nkambule with us here, the MEC, I'm sorry for that, I'm used to the MCs, the MEC for Economic Development in the province, our distinguished guests present here, our councillors, officials, good morning. Before I get to my speech, I just want to share with you that it is a very exciting day for me today, because when we went to overseas last year, September, we took a center stage on the media because of the taxpayers' money that we have wasted to take 18 days in overseas, trying to get some experiences in terms of achievement. I understand why, because we were not yet back with the answers why we went there. I must say that the experience that we got there within the 18 days that we were there. Most of our speakers today are the people whom were willing to share their success stories there. We then resolved as council that we learned so much that it is difficult that we can explain ourselves what we shared. We then decided to have this summit and invite those people to share their experiences with our business people here in Mbombela and Mpumalanga. That is why we're having this summit today. We are delighted that finally this day has come, that we gather at this venue to deliberate on the important matter of economic development. As a municipality, we are breaking a new ground for all other to follow, as this summit is another milestone for our municipality and the province that stakeholders will assemble in this fashion over the next 2 days for the summit on how we can grow our economy together. You will remember that as government, our responsibility is to create enable environment for business to take place. But mostly for business, it is business people who are responsible to ensure that there is economic growth in our areas. It is our ambition as Mbombela, in our capacity as a provincial capital city, to become a beacon of hope to citizens of this municipality and the province, that we instill culture of learning from one another, for partnerships where possible, for a brighter future of coming generations. We know that we are holding this leadership position for our future generations, but we must make sure that when they come, they are proud of what we did when we were given this opportunity. This vibrant city lies awaiting all prospective investors to explore the opportunities that are in abundance. Mbombela aims to become a model city of excellence through the formation of partnerships that will ensure that its citizens will be proud of. The municipality is well and truly on the right direction, becoming a metro. That is our aspiration, that in the future we become a metro. The prevailing conditions and the strategic geographical location of the city makes it an investment haven for investors who have an eye for better returns. I think our visitors can bear witness. We know that as people of Mbombela, that we are located in a very strategic position, because we are closer to Swaziland, we are closer to Mozambique, we are on the N4 to Gauteng and other provinces. When the time comes for commissions, we appeal that all of you participate optimally in the relevant sectors of your expertise, so that in the final analysis, we are able to establish a well-resourced forums that your aspiration are carried forward correctly. The speakers that have been invited to this summit brings with them a wealth of knowledge and hands-on experience in different fields of their professionalism. Let us all take advantage of this opportunity for our own personal development, as well as that of the community that we are leading. Our mandate as a local government is to create an enabling environment for economic development to strive. This Economic Development Summit could not have come at a better time. It is time for us within government and for you as stakeholders present to partake and contribute to the direction of local economic development. As local government, being closest to the people and the first point of contact of government with communities, we must respond sharply to the economic needs of our communities. very much important that we do that as government. Hence, we have this summit to bring all stakeholders together to ensure that there is economic growth in our municipality. We have to build local economies to create not just employment, but decent work, improve local public services, and promote more community participation in local government. Our elections manifestos requires that we adhere to the above mentioned areas. In our inauguration speech, we mentioned that we want to come up with the new and fresh ideas of how to grow economy from the community and level and upwards. That is why we are having this summit today. As an executive mayor of Mbombela, I humbly request that we accomplish the following objectives at the end of this summit. The first one, as indicated earlier, is that we would want to build partnership with relevant stakeholders. It is for you business people to do that. That is why we created this platform to build those partnerships. We also want to establish a platform from where continuous engagement will take place. We know that we need each other. Some of our activities or our responsibility as government affect business, and some of what you are doing as business is affecting us as government. So we want to create that platform that there is a continuous engagement. We also want to motivate local business to participate in local economic development, to be able to create decent and sustainable jobs. And the last objective that we want to accomplish at the end of the summit is to come up with the ways and means of eradicating poverty. I think it is a joint responsibility between government and business. I must say that Mbombela is a well and truly the right place to look at for investment and economic growth. Without taking much of your time, Program Director, and also to preempt what is still to be discussed over the next 2 days, let me briefly bring to your attention just a few pointers as to why it is important that you invest in Mbombela. Our economic condition. Mbombela local municipality has a well-established economic, consistently achieving growth rates, mostly or higher than the South African and Mpumalanga economic in most sectors. It is well positioned to take advantage of strong international, national and regional linkages and become an active role player in the Southern African economy. And Mbombela is the capital city of the provincial government and the foremost industrial, commercial, retail and service center for the region, including Mozambique and Swaziland. And it was to prove that during the World Cup 2010, it benefited both Swaziland and Mozambique. We are also humbled and honored by the presence of the MEC. I must say, MEC, that thank you very much for your support. You, your department, and everyone in the department, you've been part of the delegation due to the disaster. I was busy in the municipality, but you've been able to take care of our guests. I just want to say thank you very much. It's not for the first time, and since we joined the office, you've been there with us. We really appreciate the support that you are getting from the department and Ehlanzeni District Municipality. The various members of the executive committees of departments will also have an opportunity to identify areas of growth in our municipality and the province during this summit, and we encourage them to take full advantage of the situation. This will be an ideal opportunity for executive mayors. We had invited executive mayors from different municipalities, so that the experiences that we'll be sharing with our aspect from international, they must also benefit from that. We did not say that it was the Mbombela trip only. We said we want to share those experiences with them. And we were saying they must take a full advantage of that. And finally, I want to thank our speakers for their willingness to share their expertise with us. It is upon us what we do from what we'll hear from them after they have left. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Without any further waste of time, I would like to speak about something, but in the interest of time, I will move on to the next speaker and ask the custodian of economic development and planning in the province, the MEC himself, to please come forward for the keynote address. Let's give him a big round of applause as he's coming forward. The MEC for today, Mr. Norman Mkwenya.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Program Director Babu Ngumalo, the Executive Mayor of Mbombela Local Municipality, Her Worship Councillor Kethi Dlamini, the Executive Mayor of Ehlanzeni District Municipality, Her Worship Mageleta Shongwe, the Executive Mayor of Mbambane City Council, Babu Kambule, members of the Mbombela Mayoral Committee, all councillors of Mbombela present, Dr. Mabunda, the CEO of the 10th province of South Africa, Sun Parks, and your GM of the Kruger National Park, Baba Sibia, the HOD of my department, Dr. Dlamini, and your team present today, all guests of honors, particularly our speakers, or shall I say it because I saw a profile of all of you who will be speaking. If you are not doctors, you are professors. So therefore, I'm inclined to say, my learned friends, special guests of honor, Mr. Harris Rosen, President and COO of Rosen Hotels and Resorts in the US, and Professor Eduardo Solo, President of Ulysses Foundation, Pastor Manana and other leaders of faith present here today, business leaders and captains of industries, the acting municipal manager of Mbombela and your team of technocrats, government officials from the three spheres of government, and the sponsors of this summit, without whom we could not have pulled such a successful and magnificent summit, distinguished guests from South Africa and abroad, all social partners in our midst, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. I want to take this opportunity to thank you, Mbombela Municipality, for inviting the provincial government and for the honor bestowed on us to address you and all of you on behalf of our people, the people of Mpumalanga. I therefore rise first and foremost to congratulate the Mbombela local municipality for facilitating and organizing such a high-powered, well-structured economic business dialogue forum. I think, ladies and gentlemen, the municipality deserves a round of applause. I appreciate the opportunity to share with you some reflections on global, national, provincial, local trends impacting on our destination. Given the complexity of the global economic challenges we face, it is crucial that we engage as we do to share our collective experiences as a global community to unlock our economic value. We are therefore encouraged by the presence of our international speakers and successful business personalities of note at this summit, and we hope that we can share our valuable experiences and best practices. Secondly, I wish to sincerely thank all of our international guests and speakers on behalf of the province of Mpumalanga for putting time aside and traveling all the way to come and share with us your insightful thoughts on this important subject. We equally recognize the presence of all social partners who have given their time to be part of this important summit over the next 2 days, and their inputs will undoubtedly give further impetus to the shared output of this summit. The municipality has already welcomed you to the province where the sun rises and never sets, as Pastor Manana has already alluded, a province of a pioneering spirit. Our province is undoubtedly a world tourism destination of choice, ladies and gentlemen, endowed with a myriad of global attractions and experiences. The main offerings being wildlife, scenic beauty, adventure, and rich and diverse culture and heritage landscape. The province's tourism jewels include, among others, the very Kruger National Park where we are today, which offers 2 million hectares of flora and fauna, the Blythe River Canyon, which is the 3rd largest world and the only evergreen 24/7, 365 days. The Makonjwa Mountain Range in Barberton, with rock formations dating back 3.5 billion years. The iconic mining village of the Pilgrim Rest and the majestic waterfalls, the cultural and heritage landscape. The context and the timing of this summit. We indeed note that this summit comes at a crucial time given the events which are unfolding in the domestic economy, regionally and internationally. We are at a time of global economic uncertainty, whereupon we face a global economic crisis like no other time that we have experienced since the 20th century. Ladies and gentlemen, the biggest challenge we all face as humanity, especially since the 2008 global meltdown, are economic growth and job creation. The most recent global economic outlook released by the IMF this week was IMF even slashed its forecast for growth this year from 4.1 to 3.3%, with the Eurozone crisis expected to possibly derail the global economic recovery. One of the most important consequences of the world financial crisis has been the serious deterioration of fiscal position of governments around the world. Budget deficits have mushroomed as government collect less taxes. Furthermore, there are significant concerns globally that the developed world is on the brink of a second economic depression, with its knock-on effects to the developing world. The crisis in Europe has not helped us. As we all know, Europe is our main trading partner as South Africa, and it is likely to have serious impact on us. Until now, there has been fragmented responses to the European crisis, which have merely delayed the need for a credible solution. There are no easy or painless solutions, but the longer they are delayed, the more difficult and painful the outcome will be. It is not just the markets that have lost confidence, it is also the ordinary people who are bearing the brunt and consequences of this crisis. These social and economic consequences are becoming increasingly apparent as we see growing structural unemployment problems in our economies, particularly among the youth and women, and in a number of instances, this has resulted in increased social unrest, as we have notably seen in the past year in North Africa, in the Middle East, and in Europe, to mention but a few. So the timing and the subject of this summit has never been more important to us. The South African government, therefore, has made a commitment to making the creation of work opportunities and sustainable livelihood the primary focus of our economic policy, and all economic role players, including municipal authorities, must take advantage of these communities, must take advantage of these commitments, including the positive aspects of our economy. On the domestic economic outlook, South Africa is a middle-income emerging market with an abundant supply of natural resources, well-developed financial, legal, communication, energy, and transport sectors, a stock exchange that is ranked the 18th largest in the world, and a modern infrastructure supporting a relatively efficient distribution of goods and services to major urban centers throughout the region. Real economic growth has recovered from 1.5 in 2009 to 2.9 in 2010. The unadjusted real GDP at market prices increased by 3.1 year-on-year in the third quarter of 2011 compared with the third quarter of 2010. This rate of GDP growth remained clearly below potential. GDP is expected to grow at 2.8 in 2012. Our domestic growth is likely to keep being led by household and government consumption expenditure. The official average annual inflation rate was 5% for the year 2011. Inflation is now expected to remain outside the upper end of the targeted range of 6% for the whole of 2012, and to peak in the second quarter of 2012 at around 6.6 before declining gradually and returning to within the target range of 3 to 6 in the first quarter of 2013. The economy of Mbombela is important, therefore, to the economy of the province and contributes to about 64% of the Ehlanzeni district economy. The economy of Mpumalanga is expected to grow at 3% in 2012 compared to 3.7% in 2011, while Mbombela's economy is expected to grow at 3.2% in 2012 compared to 3.4% in 2011. Clearly, the impact of the global financial crisis is still with us. The biggest sectors in terms of contribution to the Mbombela economy are community services, followed by trade, followed by finance and manufacturing. In terms of its contribution to employment, the largest contributors to employment propensity in Mbombela's economy is trade, followed by community services, followed by manufacturing and agriculture. Due to the global financial crisis, the unemployment rate in Mbombela increased from 12% in 2008 to 15% in 2010, compared with the Ehlanzeni district figures of 18% in 2008 and 22% in 2010. In relation to trade, looking at our trade prowess, China has become the top destination for South African exports since the mid-2009, as is also South Africa's leading source of imports. China is the dominant investment partner among emerging partners, with its FDI ranked 5th in terms of value in early 2010 at 33 billion South African rands. Many emerging partners use South Africa as a gateway to other African countries. In December 2010, South Africa became an official member of BRICS group. The challenge for all three spheres of government, led by the national sphere, is to show that it has a purposeful plan to engage with BRIC countries, to prioritize our productive capacity, and each sphere of government to maximize its contribution to the national economy. Another challenge is to avoid neglecting trading partners while nurturing strategically important emerging partnerships. Indeed, EU is still South Africa's topmost regional export destination. The year 2011 has also seen the launch of South African Development Partnership Agency to inform and direct the country's development assistance. On Vision 2030, Program Director, I wish to remind your audience that the National Planning Commission released a diagnostic report in June 2011, outlining the key challenges that compound our fight against poverty and inequality, and those that constrain growth and the development agenda of the country. Subsequent to this report, a road plan for the country's 2030 vision was crafted to address these key challenges, and the draft plan gives details on the following 13 issues. 1, on creating jobs and livelihood, expanding infrastructure, transition to a low-carbon economy, on transforming urban and rural spaces, on improving education and training, on improving the quality of health care, on building a capable state, on fighting corruption and enhancing accountability, on transforming society and unifying the nation, on creating an inclusive and integrated rural economy, on broadening social protection, on building safer communities, and lastly, on enhancing South Africa's role in relation to the region and the world. Now, this is the country's long-term picture that we must continue to visualize, in addition to the new growth path, as we strive to reverse the plagues of poverty and inequality through local economic development. The Mpumalanga provincial government, through the leadership of the Department of Economic Development, Environment and Tourism, has crafted the Mpumalanga Economic Growth and Development Plan, commonly known as the Provincial Growth Path. This plan will form the basis for the provincial government's agenda to create an enabling environment to create jobs, as well as fighting poverty and inequality. The Mpumalanga Economic Growth and Development Path is a strategic plan derived from the National Growth Plan framework and is adopted to focus on the economic growth and development agenda for the next 10 years as a base for longer-term growth and development. To this end, the province has set itself a target of reducing the unemployment, which stands at 29% as in the third quarter of 2011 to 15% in 2020. This is a massive undertaking which will require the mobilization of resources by all stakeholders towards a common vision of a more equitable and inclusive economy, ladies and gentlemen. The challenge for our province is to increase the economic rate to at least between 5 and 7% per annum in order to create enough jobs and to significantly reduce the levels of unemployment. the MEGDP recognizes that jobs will be created mainly through the private enterprise activities, but that it is essential for government that government takes a more assertive role in directing as well as enabling the economy to grow in a manner that creates jobs on a large scale to benefit us all. This inherently brings into focus the need for state-owned enterprises to gear up to the challenge of stimulating the economy to grow faster while creating employment. It also brings into sharp focus the need for a more holistic approach towards empowerment, taking into account issues of control and ownership of the means of production. Underlying all of our efforts will be the issue of skills and education for our youth that will play a major role in the success of our economic growth and development path. It is therefore of great importance that we intensify the efforts of capacitating our youth who represent our future to obtain the necessary skills in order to be meaningful players in the future of this industry. I'm therefore delighted to hear that there are discussions between Rosen Hotels and Resorts and the TUT in that direction to begin to enhance this particular area of work. Government will need to work closer with business, labor, and the broader civil society in order to achieve these targets. The issue of building trust among stakeholders will be key, and government is in the process of putting in place an implementation forum where these parties will be able to engage on economic growth and development issues of the province on a regular and structured basis. Ladies and gentlemen, continuous analysis of the global, national, and provincial economic opportunities remain a prerequisite. As all South Africans will know, our local government system is based on developmental goals. Section 153 of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa sets out the developmental duties of municipalities. And I want to quote that particular section as it says, a municipality must A, structure and manage its administration, budgeting and planning process to give priority to the basic needs of the community and to promote the social and economic development of the community. And B, to participate in the national and provincial development programs. Similarly, the 1998 White Paper on Local Government states the following, and let me quote, open quote, "The developmental local government is a local government committed to working with citizens and groups within the community to find suitable ways to meet the social, economic, and material needs and improve the quality of their lives," close quote. Ladies and gentlemen, what this means is that the economic development of communities is an important part of the developmental role of municipalities and should be part of a municipality's integrated developmental plans. And undoubtedly, LED is a key expression of this economic development. The aim of democratizing our society and growing our economy inclusively can only be realized through a responsive, accountable, effective local government system that is part of a developmental state. The establishment of a South African developmental state is grounded on the vision of a state and society working together at all levels to advance social justice, economic growth, and development. Developmental local government is central to building a developmental state. The country faces a great developmental risk if local government fails on its constitutional responsibility. On the role of LED, Mbombela local municipality lies at the heart of Mpumalanga as the capital city of this province. So as one of the host cities during 2010 FIFA World Cup, with one of the best stadium in the country, and Mbombela is suitably located regarding tourism and trade routes along the N4, popularly known as the Maputo Development Corridor. It has become a strategic gateway for neighboring markets such as Mozambique and Swaziland, and it further offers access to many of the world's finest game parks. The city, with its scenic landscape, is also home to the National Botanical Garden, sets in 154 hectares of land along the eastern bank of the Crocodile River, containing no fewer than 512 plant species indigenous to the area, let alone its rich cultural heritage and diversity, which you can't find anywhere in the world. Citrus agricultural products gives it a competitive advantage to export and beneficiate some of the agricultural products. I am certain that this profile alone puts Mbombela local municipality ahead of other economic hubs in the province with regard to its growth potential. LED involves identifying and using primary local resources, ideas, and skills to stimulate economic growth and development. The aim of LED is to explore the cooperation of municipality together with its private sector and civil society to ensure that we are able to create jobs, alleviate poverty, and redistribute resources and opportunities to the benefit of all local residents. The point of emphasis outlined in the LED National Framework of 2006 is that LED cannot be disconnected from the broad struggle against poverty, unemployment, and inequality. Furthermore, the framework identifies the strategic goals of LEDs, and I want to take you through the 5-6 points. The first point being a shift towards a more strategic approach to the development of local economies and overcome the failures of municipalities in trying to manage a litany of non-viable projects or startups. 2, to support local economies to realize their optimal potential and make local communities active participants in the economy. 3, to elevate the importance of effectively functioning local economies in growing the provincial and national economy. 4, to wage the national fight against poverty more effectively through local level debates, strategies, and action. To improve community access to economic initiatives, support programs, and information. To improve the coordination of economic development planning and implementation across the government and between government and non-governmental sectors. And lastly, to build greater awareness about the importance of localities and regions which globally are playing an increasingly significant role as points of investments facilitated by supportive provincial and national policies. Ladies and gentlemen, these are profound strategic goals by any measure, on condition LED is incorporated in the municipal ID and IDP, and secondly, it is ensured that IDP are aligned to provincial and national economic growth strategies, because this will invariably lead to better decision making for economic development at the local level and consequently better outcomes. Program Director, time constraint may not permit me to expand on opportunities per sector, but I would like to give an illustration on 2 sectors, namely tourism and renewable energy. On tourism, the Mpumalanga Tourism Growth Strategy seeks to transform the provincial tourism economy from a primary factor-driven approach that is characterized by limited investment, insufficient product portfolio, inadequate knowledge and research capability, and limited airlift capacity. The new approach's primary goal is to mobilize investment in tourism infrastructure and to expand the current product portfolio across the province. At the center of this new approach is the need to transform the tourism economy of the province in order to obtain sustainable benefits and create decent employment for the people of the province. I'm ecstatic to realize that many role players including Mbombela local municipality, have started to engage and partner with local and international potential investors to generate investment within the local economy. In many cases, the main benefit to be expected from investment in tourism is not the size of capital investment, but in the impact on training, the upgrading of management processes, and links to international value chains. This can have a major positive effect on the economic development in the long term if managed carefully. Non-equity investments such as hotel franchise to a destination can also be very beneficial, for example, by helping to attract a critical mass of visitors that will make other tourism projects profitable. Local government, therefore, has a critical role in partnership with the other social partners of developing and diversifying the tourism economic space in the province. On environmental asset, as identified in our growth plan, the point of emphasis here is sustainable development of environmental asset that must be a prerequisite for exploring the maximum potential of job creation in areas of waste management through recycling. One example would be the buyback centers to drive the economy through waste revolution. Municipal landfill sites must therefore not only be permitted exclusively for the sake of compliance, but also to ensure that they are transformed into reservoirs of green and renewable energy generated from the landfill gas. In this way, contributing to the energy security of the country and creating jobs. Clearing of invasive alien plant is an important expanded public works program that has a huge potential for job creation. But this important initiative does not seem to find expression in our plans. The Working for Water, Working for Wetland, and all other similar programs must be prioritized through applicable collaboration platform. Rehabilitation of mine dams in the province as well as water reclamation deserve specific attention through corporate social initiatives of the mining houses operating in our municipal spaces. In conclusion, the Mbombela local municipality must grab the opportunity which the growth path, the post-recession global economic realignment, regional economic integration initiatives such as the Tri-Land signed between South Africa, Swaziland and Mozambique presents to us. How the municipality exploits these opportunities will determine whether you build the local economy that is a practical expression of your huge potential, or a municipality with a mediocre local economy. But I'm confident that this local municipality has done one thing which has taken us to this level. So far as I know, this is the only municipality that has employed a doctor to lead and take charge of the local economic development throughout the province. I think they deserve a round of applause. Many of our municipalities, I think they can take cue from Mbombela, because what it means, the message Mbombela is sending is that we are taking local economic development very serious. That's why we have employed the kind of, the caliber of Dr. Van Niekerk to lead us in that direction. And we say thank you for your vision as the municipality. Program Director, as I conclude, I'd like to remind the summit that the founding fathers of the ruling party had a clear economic vision many decades ago. In fact, 25 years before the centenary celebration, our late President, Oliver Reginald Tambo, had to say, and allow me to quote him, and he has this to say: of central importance also is the critical requirement that the new South Africa must guarantee the masses of our people freedom from hunger, disease, ignorance, homelessness, and poverty. The democratic state will be representative of all the people of our country, and especially the ordinary working people who own neither land nor factories, and neither the mines nor the commercial banks. It will therefore be called upon to ensure that the wealth of the country increases significantly and continuously, and that it is shared equitably by all the people to ensure that their material and spiritual upliftment and well-being, close quote. With these few words, ladies and gentlemen, I therefore wish you well in your deliberation over the next 2 days. Together, we can do more, and I thank you.
I will allow them a few moments to share. It's been a long time for him being here. Thank you so much, Mr. Mkwena, for a job well done. And thanks to each and every one of you who made his way here. On behalf of Mbombela, we're grateful that you are here and for being such a good audience. We have arranged with Avis, Dr. Matilda, that if you have a business card, you throw it in their box there. On Friday, the executive mayor will conduct a draw. If you're lucky, you can win. You must hear me well on this one. You'll win the use of the brand new VW Amarok 4x4 for the duration of the Easter holidays at a value of about 8,000 rand. It's not the car that you're winning, it's the use of it's the use of the car free of charge during that time.